Hey, this is Thomas Aellis from Double Diamond Capital Group. If you want to learn how to use a small axe to build an empire, you should be listening to the Small Axe Podcast with my good friend Nico.
Hey, guys, this is your boy Nico, your host of the Small Axe Podcast. Hey, this show is dedicated to helping you become the best multifamily real estate investor that you can be. Now, whether you want to be an active or a passive investor, this show will give you all the resources you need to help sharpen your axe and build your own personal empire. So you know what? Sit back and relax and enjoy this show. And hey, if you find value in it, I would love for you to subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, and write a review. I love you guys.
Okay, Small Axe community, this is your boy Nico. I am super excited. This is the third year that I'm doing the Accountability Series podcast, and this is my first interview wrapping up Q1 with my main man, Tom Aellis. Now, I have about 4 people this year that are going to be doing this series with me, and I'm really excited to follow them along their journey. I've gotten so much great feedback from you guys, my listeners, as to what you want to hear and what you have been hearing in their journeys and how those journeys have impacted you in your own journeys and lives. So I'm really excited to get this going. Now, without further ado, I'm going to bring my friend Tom on to introduce himself. Tom, what's up, my man?
What's happening, Nico? Thank you so much for having me today.
Oh, man. And thank you for doing this because it's not easy, getting out of your comfort zone a little bit and jumping on a podcast for the first time and sharing your experiences with people. That's just wild, man. So thank you.
I know, but they say to move forward, you have to, get uncomfortable and put yourself into those uncomfortable situations, So here we go.
Let's do it.
My real estate journey is not that exciting as of yet. So that's the whole purpose of this is, following the journey and being the accountable part. But basically, I've been an entrepreneur since I'm a kid. I basically purchased my own business in 2004. I was about 23 years old. It's actually funny, the year that I purchased my business was right when me and my wife were getting married. So I pretty much told her one day that, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to buy this business and hey, I hope it works. It's something that I own a transportation company here in New York. We do primarily weddings, proms, stuff like that. I'm doing it actually since I'm 13 years old. So I've been in the industry for about 30 years. But COVID kind of put us for a little loopy, as well as I'm sure it did for everybody else. So basically, when COVID hit, it was this thing that was going to last a week or 2 weeks. So we're like, all right, stuff's canceled for a week or two. Then when it started to go a little bit longer, it started to progress worse. And unfortunately, in the industry that I'm in, there is no pivoting. There is no virtual limousine rides, So we were basically shut down. The city was shut down for whatever it was, about 1.5 years. Things started to come back a little bit in the end. Granted, we were able to push through it. And the reason we were able to push through it is basically because of our network and because of our relationships with our bank, with our insurance company. And that resonates a lot with multifamily investing, having those relationships with the bank, having those team members on your side. And those do play big parts in roles of, getting to that next step in your adventure, in your career. So with that, we were able to survive through the whole COVID period. But it did put that light bulb into me saying, hey, this is something I'm doing for 30 years and basically was shut off in the blink of an eye. Whether it was controllable, uncontrollable, nobody could determine that. So it was when I started to diversify myself. I says, I love real estate. I want to get involved in real estate. And I knew I didn't really want to go straight into like a single family homes and stuff like that. I did go and get my city license here in New York. So I am also a licensed New York realtor. I started learning the aspect on that side of it. And I was like, So a lot of times you hear about being in real estate. Okay. Are you in real estate? Yeah, I'm in real estate. I'm a New York City licensed real estate salesperson. But are you really in real estate? To be in real estate as a salesperson, you're basically just part of the transaction. So again, in air quotes, are you really in real estate? I thought about it. Like, you're right. As much as I love doing the sales of it, which I won't stop, I'm going to continue on with that. I started looking into investing, got myself a mentor, went the right route. We did fantastic together. He taught me a whole bunch of things. To this day, I continue still to talk to him. And as everybody else did, you read the Purple Bible. Purple Bible pretty much opens up your eyes to a lot of different things, the way money works, the way different things transpired. I found myself wanting to scale a little bit larger. Even not owning a property yet, I still found myself wanting more. So I basically found Jake and Gino. Jake and Gino was one of the few different places that I was looking at. It's just the one that I felt the most comfortable with. I felt comfortable because they were never aggressive, they were never pushy. They made it feel like a family. And being myself, resonating with my family, that's what comes first. Family comes first. And I felt really comfortable with them. So I decided to take my journey to their level, which was October of last year. I started with them. So we're in it for a few months. A little overwhelming. As Gino states all the time, it's like drinking from a fire hose, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was a little overwhelming, but that's where I am now. I'm in the process of doing the learning. I want to learn. That's my biggest thing is I want to learn. I want to do it the right way, and I want to be accountable. I think this program here and this podcast will help us keep the accountability going, because next time we meet, we're going to want to be able to say, hey, Nico, I did this. Or, so I think it's great. I think it's great what you're doing with this. I think it's going to be a great thing for everybody involved.
Awesome, Tommy. Thank you for sharing. So, your story is pretty common. And most of us who get into this, well, a lot of us who get into the real estate world or entrepreneurship in general, have realized that there is something that is causing us fear, in a sense of like what happened with you and your business in COVID. And it just kind of was like a wake up call. And it happens with a lot of people. They come to this realization where whatever they're doing is either too risky at the moment or not enough, financially, or not enough, to fulfill their personal needs and wants and desires and dreams. So we turned to real estate, you and I. Now,
right.
You were doing, you had a mentor and you were learning real estate, and you mentioned in there that you didn't buy anything, and that's okay. I didn't buy anything either. And I was looking at duplexes here, where I live in Long Beach, Long Island, where $1 million essentially for a duplex. And we were looking at like zero to negative cash flow. I just didn't see the thrill in that. So similar to you, I then switched to multifamily. Took a little over a year to learn, or maybe just 1 year to learn before I got into my first deal. Some people get in faster. Now, you've only been in the program, like the official program, for a few months. Is there, and you mentioned that it's overwhelming, because it definitely is, and I felt that as well. Is there some aspect that you're gravitating towards at this point of the business?
So yes, there is. I really want to learn syndication. I'm really trying to focus on the larger portfolio, not really portfolio play, but the larger units. I'm trying to focus on anywhere from like 10 to 60 units. And I would love to try to do a syndication. So I'm trying to learn a lot about that. Towards the end of my first mentor, I did wind up closing on a duplex. So we do have that duplex, and then we did wind up closing on another little small unit in Jonesboro, Arkansas. And right after we closed on the Jonesboro, Arkansas unit, I happened to become friendly with the gentleman I purchased it from. And it turns out now this is after we closed on it, he happens to be a Jake and Gino student as well. So it's just all roads just pointed back to, Jake and Gino, which was pretty cool. But to answer your question, I would like to learn the syndication part of it. I want to build a legacy, and I don't know if that's having children. It puts you, in a different mind frame. Again, so mindset is everything in this, right? You have to, pivot your mind to really do what you want and strive to get there. And I want to be able to build something that my daughters could, take one day and leave to their kids one day and leave to their kids one day. Granted, I'll never see my great grandchildren, but through the power of real estate, I'll be able to touch them in a certain way.
Yeah, beautiful, man. I love that. Thank you, man. Thank you for sharing. Now,
I really I want to build a legacy, and I don't know if that's having children. It puts you, in a different mind frame. Again, so mindset is everything in this, right? You have to, pivot your mind to really do what you want and strive to get there. And I want to be able to build something that my daughters could, take one day and leave to their kids one day and leave to their kids one day. Granted, I'll never see my great, great, great grandchildren, but through the power of real estate, I'll be able to touch them in a certain way.
Yeah, beautiful, man. I love that. Thank you, man. Thank you for sharing. Now, beautiful, man. I love that. Thank you, man. Thank you for sharing. Now, for people, just as a reminder for those listening out there, the Accountability Series podcast is following the journey for these investors' first year. So if you resonate with these stories, if you feel that this is something that you connect with as a listener, feel free to contact me or contact Tommy or anybody that you're listening to, because this is, we're all in the same boat. We all have to start at some point. And a lot of times we're starting at zero, right? And that's okay. And it's okay to start at zero. And it's really important to be following different people's journeys and understand who you resonate most with, and maybe you can kind of connect with them. So that's also a really wise way to get started, is connecting with somebody who is on this program or this podcast and doing this accountability series, and jump into their journey as well, because it might expedite your personal journey. Now, Tommy, in the Jake and Gino community and in multifamily in general, we tend to start with picking like a market. Obviously, there's so many things to do. We pick a market or maybe two markets to look at. We don't want to go too crazy at first, right? Because there's so much to do and it could be overwhelming. Have you chosen a market?
So I have found myself, so where my duplex is in Pensacola, Florida. I really like the area there. I also like mostly West Florida, like Tampa, in that vicinity. And you're right. You should really focus on 1 to 2 markets, because up until recently, I really found myself like in a whirlwind. I was looking like all over the place. And then when you're underwriting something, you're saying, wow, this is a great deal, but you're thinking that it's in like a Tampa market. Meanwhile, it's in like a little Midwest market. You're like, and then like, oh no, wait, I'm getting confused with something else I'm doing. So to really focus in on those 1 to 2 markets is definitely the way to go. And yeah, like I said, the Florida market I really like, and I'm still trying to hone down on my other area. I like the Carolinas, Georgia, Texas. So again, I'm still trying to redirect something over there.
Yeah. A lot of ways that people get started is to, if they're looking at multiple markets, is to jump in with a sponsor who's already got a deal, right? And that's really an ideal way to get involved. How I did it and how so many friends that I've, gone through this journey with have done it as well. An already established and, accredited right sponsor, it gets a deal, and then you jump in as a co-sponsor. You bring your circle of influence, right? Your investors, and then you can bring some capital. You get general partnership ownership in the deal. You get to tell, all the brokers that you talk with moving forward that you're a general partner in a deal, and you get, credit for it. So and you get to learn. So I sat in on all the asset management calls and really just had a great time connecting and talking with the sponsors on the deal, and learned a ton. So that's one great way to get in also.
That's awesome. And I agree. And without bringing a spoiler, and hopefully it pans out, we have something that we're looking at in Florida with a 56 unit. Hopefully we put something together for it and be a really nice journey with it. But I don't know. We'll see.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
See, that's amazing. Awesome. That's awesome. And all right. And how did you meet the people that you're working with?
So one of the people that I'm working with happens to be my first mentor. And there's somebody else involved with us as well, who a lot of people in the community will probably know, but when the time is right, I hope to bring his name out. And we happened to find the deal just when we were doing my whole mentorship program, just trying to see how things work and how you find those off-market deals. And it was just a matter of skip tracing some numbers, shooting some texts. And it's something that, started about 8 months ago. And just now the people got back to us and said they were ready to sell. So, but they're still contemplating on it. So we'll see. I hope to really have some good news on it for the next one. If not, hopefully we have something else that we're working on.
That's it. I'm always looking, man.
Yeah.
I was close on a couple this past week, and now I'm not close on any. So
right.
It is. All right, Tommy, do you have any goals it's like set for this year, or are you just kind of winging it?
No, so I do have some goals. One of my goals was to try to bring another 10 doors under my belt. Very conservative. It could be tough at the same token. I wanted to read a couple new books. I think the next book I'm going to try to read is Psychology of Money, I think it's called. Gino actually recommended that one. One of my goals was to be on a podcast.
Nailed
So
it.
you checked it off for me.
Good.
So those are just the small goals, But what does Gino say all the time? Action times education times action equals results, So I'm trying to put my education to action, and hopefully we see the results.
Cool, man. All right. What is hindering you right now, if anything? And like, what are you struggling with? For me, it was I have my W-2, obviously, and time was an issue, and I couldn't get all the education in right away, right? So that was one thing. Is anything stopping you right now?
Yes and no. So there's nothing like stopping me. Ultimately, it's probably myself. I want to network more. I feel that, you meet your next partners at a lot of these events, the boot camps that the program puts on. But that's probably about it. It's probably myself, just trying to put myself out there more. That's probably my biggest holdback. It's just I have to put myself out there more and tell people what I'm doing and, how we're doing it and everything like that, But I guess once I get to a point to where I have something under my belt that I can, push forward more, but I don't know.
Cool. All right. Sounds good. So Tommy, what we're going to do is we're going to wrap it up now. We're going to give people some form of contacting you. And then, just for the listeners out there, we're going to catch up with Tommy in 3 months. So at the end of Q2, he'll have another interview and you get to hear what he has done since this quarter. So now no pressure, man, but
Yeah.
now people are listening. So, all right, how can people contact you?
So you can reach me on my email, which is Thomas Aellis. Last name is AELLIS 07@gmail.com. And my cell phone is 917-574-0363. Call or text is no problem at all. I'd love to connect with anybody that wants to network.
Beautiful, Tommy. Thank you so much. And I'm super excited to be sharing your journey with everybody. I am super appreciative that you are participating in this. And I really thank you because it's not easy to put yourself out there. So thank you so much. And thank you for today's conversation.
Thank you, Nico. You rock, bud.
All right. Take care.
Take care, man.
Hey, Small Axe community. I would like to say thank you for listening to another episode of this podcast where we show you how to use your small axe to build a lasting empire. Now, if you like what you heard, it would mean the world to me if you could leave me a 5-star rating and write a written review. Hey, let's take it one step further and share this podcast with someone that you feel could benefit from it. And until the next episode, keep sharpening those axes.